download the Cloud Wallet app. They can purchase the CloudSims from our cloud outlets, okay, which we're going to push out later with the help of leaders, okay. And with the SIM cards, okay, these users are able to use cheaper data, okay, than the local ones that is available. They're non-KYC, so we can just buy them off and use them anywhere within our scope. So for example, now we cover about 13 countries or 14 countries in Southeast Asia now. Okay, we're going to cover even more. Then Australia, we already covered Australia. So now we're talking about the Africa, India side. India, we covered most of India now, and also Sri Lanka. And we're going to cover more later on. Then the Middle East, we're trying to cover that as well. And slowly to Latin America and America, we already covered. So the Europe side, we already covered most of it. And all of this itself, what is the most common thing here is only data. But the data from provider A, for example, like let's say DTAC in Thailand, your data plan is different than the one probably you have with AT&T, right? Because the price is different and there are different providers, but there's still data. Data is data no matter how. So what we did was we actually did we're going to run an algorithm, okay, to actually make all of this different pricing of data to become something common, okay? And with this indifference between each of the pricing from each of these providers, some are cheaper, some are higher, and also and so forth. We take all these differences, we calculate all of them, okay, and we see what we need to make, okay. That is where we take the investment or the subscription fee, the subscription fee from the members itself. We then run it through our lending model or lending platforms to actually get the differences to pay for all of this.
I get it, because you got to make a profit, you know, that's very important, you know. So when we have the existing contracts, you know, we've got everyone from $50 to $100 to $1 million who are in the old Jarvis. And we are saying that the minimum now is $500. So what happened to those other accounts during the upgrade? How's that going to work?
Okay, we'll just migrate them over to Jarvis 2, and you will still get back the number of CTOs, but in data format, okay, in datas, in gigabytes or whatever, in gigabytes probably. And with all this excess gigabyte, you sell it to the consumers, okay, or customers that needs this data. You sell it to them, and they will actually use it because they need to use data anyway, right? So, so this is the way we are actually doing the buying and selling. So, for example, if you're in the States and you have a lot of this data, and because the States, the data itself is quite expensive, right? But when you sell it to places like Europe, it is much cheaper. In Europe, it's like $2 US, you get like 6 gig of data and things like that. It's really cheap, right? So the data that we are taking from all of these places, okay, we are cross-selling, we are merging it and managing it between those that need and don't need, okay? So we actually get a medium price, right? That's how we actually manage that. And those that is not enough from the trading itself, okay, from the profit that we make from the lending, it's about 1% to 1.23% a month or so. That covers all the costs of the indifference. So we are able to give more data to the people that actually supplies data. We are able to actually use this stuff data to actually supply to users who need to have cheap data anywhere in the world. So it is a win-win situation for everyone to actually do from there. So think about it, it's like Jarvis, but we actually use data to replace Jarvis. Now, we have actually talked with the Ministry of Finance people that if we were to use CTOs to, we don't use gigabyte, right? Let's say the number of gigabytes or whatever, can we just use CTOs to replace? They say that no, you cannot. It's because CTO is deemed as a digital asset no matter how you look at it, because it is a digital asset. Okay, and digital asset is considered a securities product.
Yes.
And if it's a security products, you need an RMO.
Yes.
So now, if it's a subscription, you pass me your 500, whatever I give you back is in data, then it's okay. But on top of that, I give you back more data, then it's still okay.
Yes.
So your affiliate program is not considered an MLM because there's no product to sell, and it's all data giving back to the users to use. So it is legit. So it's not under any jurisdiction for SC or for the central bank. But the only issue for that is we need to open up a sales and service center for each of the countries. And because it's a telco product, we need to have a telco license or MVNO license, okay, to actually push our product. Now, if we are selling it as a traveler SIM, a traveler's product, then we might not need to.
Oh, okay. I see. So what you're saying is that, let's say in the United States, in certain places in India, et cetera, they will have to set up a local shop, if you will.
Yes.
Is there any licensing required for that local shop?
No, it's just a local shop to pay normal tax. I sell it with SIM card for travel usage.
Just like an electronic store.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, super. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah, you can be a convenience store if you want to, or you can be I don't know, you can be a restaurant if you want to, or it can be any stores.
Or web-based store.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
But of course, if it's physical, it's much more easier for people to actually reach you and things like that, right? So our thought of having a center, a small center for leaders to actually have a place for them to teach the plan, okay? So probably a small space that can fit like 20, 30 people.
Yes.
And you double it up as a service center and a sales retail center.
Wow. Yes. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Now,
so from the profit itself, you can actually feed the offices. Yeah.
Yes. Now, you know how some of the folks are out there mumbling and grumbling about the taking 1 to 3 months for the $500 to be withdrawn. Now, my take on it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is shucks, if I cancel my cable, if I cancel my security alarm system or my mobile phone contract today and I do that early, I don't get a dime back. And so that's what I try to explain to people. If you cancel it early, you shouldn't get a dime. It's really a gift that you're even going to give them anything. So are you talking only the early withdrawal from the annual contract, or are you talking about, explain that to me. I'm unclear on that.
That's okay. The real fact of the 1 to 3 months is this, okay? We have past experiences that we have learned from the Plus incident and the other FUD incidents, right? Whereby there are massive withdrawals of funds from our trading algorithm. That itself creates problem for everyone. So now we add this rule in there to actually protect the rest of the members who are not FUD, okay? It's because when those that actually want to withdraw itself, we can actually space out the withdrawals. So when we space it out, okay, it doesn't
have that much of an impact.
Have much of an impact for the business itself. So everyone can actually just go along nicely. So this is one of the rules that they want to come in. We are trying to block away those that are trying to make money fast and run away fast. So if you're trying to make money fast, please don't come here. That's the thing from day one. But because we make it so easy for people to come in and out, okay, there are a lot of these people. So now we're actually putting all this in steps. It's like now from an infant, Cloud has actually now become a teenager. He knows what to do now, what people to actually make friends with. Okay, so if you are trying to play nice with us for a long period of time, yes, please we'll come and then let's do it, right?
Yes.
So we are trying to put in all of this in place to actually protect our members who have been loyal to us.
Yes. And it's kind of like doing a run on the bank. If you go to Bank of America or Chase and everybody did a run on the banks would be in a lot of trouble. As a matter of fact, they couldn't even support that.
Yeah, so, everyone is the same,
Yes. So we talked about the SIM card, and we've got the SIM cards. I love the SIM cards. As a matter of fact, I've got 2 of them, and they're working really, really well. And we get the top up, and we get the free 7 days international data plan usage. And when it expires, see, I'm not a mobile phone expert, so I have questions. I'm just learning how to use a mobile phone. And so forgive me if my questions are like rudimentary or boneheaded,
Right.
but if one has a telecom company's voice data plan, and they're currently using their SIM card for that voice data plan, will CloudSim include voice?
No, CloudSim is only data only. That makes it much more easier because for voice we need to do a KYC. That's the requirement for most of the countries. So for ours, it's just only pure data only. So we don't have any KYC tied to it. There's no number tied to it. Okay, that makes it a different product in a different category.
Okay, probably more regulated as well.
Yeah, but what we're going to do is this, all right? Okay, now a lot of people have actually asked, okay, how do I actually use this from day one? Okay, well, from day one itself, if you already have a WhatsApp account or WeChat account, you can always use those with this SIM card to actually just continue using and make calls, right? In China, nobody calls anymore. Everyone is usually using WeChat to call each other or WhatsApp to call each other, right? You have Skype to call each other, you know, and all these things. You can use all those. Yeah. So these are all data only, right? Yeah. So for us is I think it's just a step up to what members or the users are going into, less voice. Okay. The only time you would need to use voice is if the other side of the party is actually using a desktop phone or a shared phone, something like that, then you probably will need something like that. So for us is less of those. We just use purely data, and data is a medium for us to secure the transfer of data between our members itself. Okay, and that's why we actually wrote Cloud Chat. Okay, I believe that many people in China has been using it daily now because of the anonymity of it, and also coupled with the CloudSim, they are really safe to actually undo all this discussions and so on and so forth. And it's also a very good tool whereby they can now blast messages to the whole entire group.
Wow. Okay. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You know, I hear that there are some countrywide, see, a lot of things you learn when you're traveling, or since we've been in cloud, you learn a lot too, particularly in the telecom area. And I know that there are some countries whose internet access is being blocked in Asia and other countries. So I see now why this is in high demand over there. Here in America, my first question was, who cares about data? We get data anywhere, or who cares? But when you open up your mind and look at how the world is, you'll find that it's a big deal. And I know that in African countries, they're using it as a commodity. They use data as a commodity. And I was like, really? It's kind of like a currency, if you will. So that was kind of enlightening too. So I guess I don't have to ask the question about, would I have to have a dual SIM mobile phone to use my, let's say, T-Mobile with the cloud, if you will.
You might need to, because the thing is, for T-Mobile or AT&T, they actually SIM lock your phone.
Yes, so, Sprint does too. Yes. Yes. Okay. Great. So that's wonderful. So we've got the SIM cards, and do you have any continents of Africa on your roadmap? I know that you were saying that there's different rules and things of the sort. And if you have the continent of Africa on your roadmap, which countries are you going to tackle first?
Uganda will be the first on the list.
Okay. Do you have Nigeria in mind, or are they rather difficult?
Yes, Nigeria as well. Same with the Cameroon, Kenya as well. So these are the few African countries that we're targeting, but Uganda will be the first on our list. The reason why is that it has the most people in Africa itself. But the only problem with these places are, 1 megabyte costs about $10 US. So it's really expensive. Wow. And it's very difficult for us to achieve that balance, of that sort. If you're talking about 1 gigabyte, it's too expensive to actually pay for anything.
So they would throw off your median.
Yeah. So we're still trying, but what we're trying to do a contra with the operators. right? So we're getting excess data from wherever else we have in the world, and we're bundling it to actually get a cheaper data rate, hopefully, with the African continent. But the cool thing is, most of Africa's telco setup is actually by the Chinese. So,
Oh, yeah, that's really amazing because I also found out there in Trinidad Tobago as well as in many African countries, the casinos are owned by Chinese.
yeah, of course.
So now I'm going to rush through these because I know you have to go, but let's
Yeah.
talk about the first phase of the OTC, the over the counter. And I did a video for those of you who are listening on what an OTC is in general. So the first phase is going to be the anonymous P2P. It's just going to be me and you, and we're going to be selling and buying and setting our prices, our bid and sale prices to one another.
Yeah.
So we have the CTOs. We use that OTC to sell and buy CTOs. Now,
Yep.
I know that there's many members out of their desperation, particularly at this time, they're going to want to sell it. So I believe that it's going to be, I'm going to be presumptuous and say, where's the liquidity if, say, we don't have many buyers? Educate me on that.
Okay, so you know that we are actually now running the CloudSim service, right? So the CloudSim service itself will require CTO for you to change for data.
Oh, yes. Yes. So in order for you to purchase the data plans, you're going to need CTO. So we're not just talking about people who coming in like with the old Jarvis and where they get $500 for contract and all of that. These guys need CTOs in order to get this great deal, in order to participate in our ecosystem. So we're going to have those buyers and we're going to drive them in. And that's going to go towards your goal of having 100 million members in 3 years. Gotcha. Gotcha. So the second phase of the OTC, and I know that's not under your control because you got to deal with the CISA people and the licensing approval. How are we doing there for our ribbons OTC?
All right. So basically, the last weekend on Friday itself, we have got the last documents ready, and normally we'll just air fly it through DHL to the CSR people, but we really want it really urgently. So we have our CFO going to the Singapore to get all the documents, and we flew him all the way to CSR to actually hand over the documents. So he's now in Philippines, hopefully giving all the necessary documents to the authorities, and hopefully by this week itself we should get the letter of intent from the main licensee holder that we are approved for the CESA sub-license. Cloud is approved for it. So once we have that, then we can take this letter of intent to actually open up a bank account in CESA itself for us to actually use. So these are the local banks like Banco, Land Bank, and the Coconut Bank of Philippines or something, I can't remember. So there are a few more other banks that we are actually looking at, but most of these are semi-government banks, so that the funds are safe. So basically, once we have that, now for the merchant program, we want to do it very differently than how other merchants programs are. In the past, merchant programs always, for example, like WePay or Alipay or whichever line pay or whatever, right? They actually appoint a or this payment aggregator, right? So this payment aggregator itself would aggregate all the payment into their account and have this sent out, okay, to Line Bank or whatever bank there is. And then they come back to this aggregator, and this aggregator will then give it back to each of the merchant. This has many this has many transfers. Every time when you transfer something, you will lose something, right?
It sounds like a lot of fees, a lot of middlemen.
Yeah, a lot of middlemen. Our system itself cuts away all the middlemen, so leaving only us directly with the merchant. Okay, so for example, now a networker signs up a merchant, let's say ABC merchant. ABC merchant will tender their KYB documents to us. We will take it and send it to the banks for approval. So they will get their bank account in CESA.
Okay.
Okay. So you have ABC. Okay.
Hang that up. Hold on. Let me hang this up.
Facebook.
Somebody's thinking I'm going to live it, and I'm not going to live it, and they're like, "Where is she?" You know. Okay.
So basically, ABC merchant itself, now they have a bank account in CESA, right? So when you actually do a crypto sale on Ribbons itself, okay, there is a tax being paid over in CESA, which is 0.375, 0.378%, sorry, that's being paid to CESA. And whatever's remaining itself is in your bank account directly, minusing off the 0.5% profit that the leader or the networker would get, affiliate would get with the upline. So the whatever's remaining in the bank account in CESA, the merchant can move it themselves. So it's direct.
Yes.
They can move it anytime. So there's no middleman anywhere in between. All right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I get that. So let me tell him, stop calling me. Okay. Okay, great. Now, so we've got that. Now, I'd really like to thank you for your implementation of Cloud Redeem. Now, you mentioned that you're going to add a lot more providers besides Grab, and I tell you, Grab is great. You know, I've done a redemption there when I was over there in Malaysia, so that was wonderful. Now you're going to have a local provider, you said, in Taiwan, where we're going to be able to use the CTOs by vouchers.
Basically, over the last few weeks, we've been actually talking with our Taiwan counterpart, and our Taiwan counterpart has actually found a very good company that we can work with that has already integrated with over 10,000 merchants.
Wow.
All right. Wow. Around the world. It's about 40,000 around the world. Mostly Southeast Asia. It's a Singapore-based company. So once we integrate with them, not say integrate with them, once we actually engage them to actually buy the cash vouchers, immediately we get access to all of this in all of the countries. So we're talking about Haagen-Dazs, ice cream, cinemas, 7-Elevens, family marts, convenience stores. You have many to choose from, including those in Indonesia, those in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Philippines, all plus India as well. You have a lot, right? And you are able to also redeem for even very exotic things like theme parks and things like that.
So we're going to be able to, in other words, we're going to be able to really have a utility token. And I think that's the key.
Like money.
Yes. If we're able to buy cars and theater tickets and, you know, go buy some sushi and plum wine at the restaurant, that is wonderful, because then it doesn't matter, you know, I can't withdraw or I can't convert, because it doesn't matter, because what you're converting for is to travel. What you're converting for is to eat. What you're converting for is to buy a new phone. So now you don't have to do that conversion, just utilize the CTOs as a currency.
Yeah.
Wonderful,
so this is what we are trying to do. Instead of actually integrating with each of the merchants individually, now we're going through a third party. We believe that the third parties have done a lot of good integration. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, so we can save time by just working with them. It's not it is not difficult, and it's also not something that other wallets want to do, because other wallets, they just want to have the cash with them. Ours is we prepaid out, so every time you do a conversion, the money's out. It's always going out. Because we believe that the ones that is coming in and going out, we earn a small percentage. For example, if you were to buy, let's say 7-Eleven vouchers, right? We get 96% discount. All right, we are paying at 96 cents to $1, right? So we get a 4 cents for every dollar, so which is good, right? So These are things that we are looking for. We're looking for volume. We're looking for the ability for people to actually use their CTO tokens and not just hold them until someone runs away with the money, right?
Yes.
So this is not what we are trying to do. That's why none of our competitors will actually want to do this. It's because it is a waste of money.
Yes. Yes. And so I'm quite sure that on your roadmap in the future, it will be non-Asian countries. And I do understand that the majority of people, the majority of the membership are indeed Asian. So of course you would start there. And I guess we can, as we grow, then we can venture off to other non-Asian countries.
Oh yeah, of course.
As we, okay.
One of the non-Asian countries that we are actually trying to hit is actually Europe itself. And we have been talking to a this voucher provider, okay, worldwide, and they supply a lot to Europe as well and to US as well. And one of those I saw on the list is actually Uber. So if we can actually get the voucher in, we believe that yeah, you can actually just grab Uber first, right? So yeah, we are trying to actually work out on all of this, and we need time to actually do all of this integration.
Yes.
Yeah, on our side. So yeah, we need to solve the first problem first, which is to eliminate the ability for our competitors to use the Ethereum private keys to lock up our nodes.
Yes.
So what happens now is the OTC in Ribbons itself is a totally new setup. They have their own, their different entity itself, not a cloud entity. They have their own nodes. They don't even give out the private key, so no one can jam them. Okay.
Wow.
Now the second one is we will still provide private keys, but it is their own account withdrawal. Yeah. So if they want to jam the withdrawals, they jam the withdrawals, but the conversions will still work. Yeah. The credit card will still work. All this will still work. So we believe that hopefully the withdrawals are less, because most of the withdrawals now is because of fear.
Yeah, it is. It really truly is. And people are afraid. And, you know, what I like about what you just said is that you're going to have all of these different points. You're not just going to have one point of failure. And so you have other options. So you've got that one point of failure. The possible point of failure is on the withdrawal side. But okay, great. But we still can use our debit cards. We still can do B. We still can do C. We still can use coupons. We still can do redeeming and all of that. So it won't put a damper on things and put things to a halt. And that was all a learning experience. And I learned that. And I try to tell people, I say, you have to understand when you're creating a new business or a new anything, you're going to get a hiccup, a big one. And you're going to get a hit, and you have to go back to the drawing board, because the other option is just give up and quit. And I said, if anyone can pull this off, Ronald can freaking pull this off. Now, the other guys, I'm not sure what they're doing. I see a lot of copycats, but it's more words on the paper, because, you know, I know technology, as you know that, and it's not as easy. You know, now we're going to talk about, and I mean, you already addressed a lot of it, the purple elephant in the room, and we call him conversion. You already said the OTC. We already talked about the MasterCard. We talked about the redeem. Now, the OTC, you've mentioned, will be completed in the next few days, and you said that a few days ago. Now it's going to be the next few days. We know that's going to relieve this issue surrounding the current conversion process, but are we going to have that done by this week?
We are trying to actually get it done by this week. Our engineers are doing the test, but there are a lot of rules that we need to put in place. For example, are we going to make it become a free flow market? It's not an exchange, it's just a marketplace. But do we want to actually limit them to like a 10% or 20%, 25% up and down, or whether it's a free flow, you can just put any price you want, right? Because it's peer-to-peer in the end. So if we were to put too much of restrictions into it, then it makes it very weird.
And then you no longer are actually a peer-to-peer. Then it's not a free market.
Yeah, it's not a free market. Yeah, so basically we want to actually have something that anyone can just do anything. You know, if you want to sell the CTOs at like 1 cent, okay, you know, who's there to stop you? Because when you sell at 1 cent, it doesn't mean that the whole price will go to 1 cent, right? It's not an exchange. Even in exchange, it depends on how many people sell at 1 cent. If everybody decided to sell at 1 cent, then you drop to 1 cent. That is exchange. But this is not an exchange, it's OTC. It doesn't even hit the exchange.
And so it has no bearing on the current price of CTO.
Yeah.
So CTO is 51 cents. Whatever you do on a PTP, just like with any PTP in the market in general, with Bitcoin, Ether, whatever, it has no bearing on the price at all, unless you're on an exchange where that's the market makers and things of the sort.
And I say that CTOs will never be on an exchange because
Good,
we
good.
not.
Because when I heard about this exchange, I was like, no. So I'm glad you reiterated that. Did you guys hear that? CTO will never be on an exchange. So stop saying that. You scared me. Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now the MasterCard, you mentioned that the C1s and C4s are going to be able to convert that. We're going to get our pins via email. When shall we receive that?
Hopefully by this week as well. I've really pushed through. We have actually sent before, but there's some problems on our site. 2,000 over cards actually been approved.
Wow. I hope I'm in that. I hope I'm in that bucket.
I'm not sure actually, but anyway, the pins will be sent out, and you can actually you have the pin, but the top-up interface is not ready yet. So the guys will say that the next upgrade itself will have the top-up ready. We believe that once we open up the prepaid card channel, the SIM top-up channels, so there are more usage on CTOs now, because now CTOs you can only stay in hotels, right? Hotels only. And convert. These are the only two things you can do. But now you have hotels, you have your redemption, which is only in Malaysia, but we open up for all the countries. So we believe that you will take away some of the FUD. The third one is a prepaid card, so that will take even more FUDs away. All right. And
believe me, the FUD will never stop. You know.
But you know, the things are all there. They can just use the card to withdraw money, because most of them that actually came to me, it's really ridiculous. You're talking about $90 US, $25 US, $60 US. Oh, come on.
Wow.
You're trying to withdraw $60 US.
Wow. And see, you know, a lot of times I would say things like that. And then sometimes you have to back up and remember, a lot of people, $60 and $90 is a whole lot of money for them. You know, it's just the truth. And sometimes I have to remember that, so we can't kind of dismiss that. It makes a difference in some people's lives. I guess it does. So
no, the thing for me is this, right? If you put the $90 inside there, you get more CTOs than you can ever get, and you just change the CTOs, right? But it's like, okay, the company's gonna run away with your $90.
Right.
Okay, fine.
So you know what I tell people is this. I said, you know what, guys, if he was going to run away with the money, have you ever seen one of those scam companies? I've been online since 1995, and I've been in this stuff, these deals. When they scam you, they're not still going to be around working. They would have been gone. Bye-bye, guys. I'm out of here. I'm going to get myself a yacht, and you won't know where I am. And I tell them, I truly don't believe that. You can't even see the signs here. And I say, if they're going through a time, to adapt. He's got to adapt and be flexible. Because if he just says, well, I'm going to do what you guys are saying right now, we're going to have the same problems. It's going to implode. It's not going to work. So we have to take the pain right now. We are the early adopters, and the early adopters are always in pain. All right. And then you're going to be very, very happy in the end. You know, you're going to be much more prosperous than the guys who just get in when the bread is baked. And so I have to explain that to people. So that's wonderful. Now, so we're all fine and dandy with that. I think I only have 2 more questions. Oh, one of my questions was, why are they sending the pins via email and not something a bit more secure? Because you know the idiots are going to come out there and start doing these phishing emails, and people are going to give them all of their pertinent information.
The email itself is password protected.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you guys are going to use one of those type of deals. Great. Super.
It's for the bank. It's not from us.
Oh, great. I love it. Love it. People are loving the hotel bookings. When will your other components of the CloudTravel be rolled out?
Okay, we had a lot of problems with the CloudTravel. Despite all the success, there's really a lot of problems with it. All right. 6 out of 10 times, it will fail.
Wow.
Maybe a bit better now, but 6 out of 10 times it will fail. So that's the actual fact of it. My guys are really screaming at the current provider.
Yeah.
So it was actually the provider used by Expedia, and we've been using Expedia, booking Expedia, non-Agoda though. So we're testing out with a new provider itself to come in to pair it with this provider, to give us more visibility on, more localization, especially on the hotel names and things like that, right?
Okay.
So
So why are they failing? You know.
The provider itself, okay. So let's get back to the beginning part, right?
Yeah.
When we went into them, they thought that we are just another fly by night company. All right, they did not know that we are going to give them so much of business.
Right.
So 20 days in, we have spent over $500,000 US dollars.
Wow.
And there are 7,000 overbookings.
Wow.
Even if the percentage of success is higher, it will be over 10,000 in 20 days.
Wow.
It's
So
even
they
higher
didn't
than
expect
booking.com.
success. They didn't expect that people were actually utilize this, and all these people come in and say, okay, you can come in and utilize our system. Okay, great. They're going to have about 10 people a month probably, right? I understand. So what they said is we're going to deal with the hotel bookings. You're going to focus on that. Once you deal with these other vendors, one or more vendors, then you're going to focus on getting the other components of CloudTravel implemented.
Yeah. But we're trying to buy time through CloudTravel itself. So one of the things that we wanted to do with CloudTravel was to actually make it really, really unique. So one of the things, instead of fighting with price, we want to fight with service. So I've actually talked over with my partners, and we are going to come up with a company called CloudTravel. So it's going to be a company by itself that is going to have its own department, its own P&L, just to actually do anything related to CloudTravel itself. Wow. So we're going to spin this off, and we're trying to make it as big as we can. We believe that with the number of members that we have, our bookings will be really, really competitive with any one of those big guys. So we do not expect that the reception would be so good, well, but it's really, really great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there are a lot of fails, but give us some time now. We're actually working on it. There will be soon a major a provider for hotels that's coming on board. So once we have it on board itself, more localization, which means that if it's in Chinese, it'll be in Chinese. If it's in English, it'll be English. If it's in Bahasa, it'll be Bahasa, and things like that. So you have a lot of those coming in the next updates that's coming. So right. That's CloudTravel itself. We are trying also to add more things into CloudTravel by offering insurance and things like that. So wow. Yeah, and a lot more things are coming. Once you have a sales and service outlet in every part of the world. So let's say, for example, if I were to work with every leader in the world, that is either a C2 or C3 or C4, okay, well, I will have 150 companies or joint ventures with everyone.
So it's like a franchise without the franchise fees.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're a C2 and you want to have your own outlets, yeah, we can actually work out with you or something, and then you start a company and we just KYB you, so you become another merchant. And you can actually start selling the Jarvis 2.0 plans. And if they want to become a affiliate, they can sell the Jarvis 2.0 plans. If they want to just become a member, they can just sell the CloudSims to them.
Yeah. Great. Mm-hmm. Now, I was privileged to buy one of these wonderful power banks over at the event, and I was really impressed with the POS, the point of sales device. Mm-hmm. That was just wonderful. I was impressed. They said it was in beta. I'm like, it works. That's all that mattered to me. Now, how many merchants do we have today with this POS device, and in which countries?
0.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, and I'm going to go back to that. Is this, I get confused. Is this branded as Cloud Merchant or Cloud POS or Cloud Pay? Differentiate those 3 brands for me.
Okay, Cloud Pay is going to be the company. that's going to be just going to have two products. Cloud Merchant is going to be under it. Yep. And Cloud POS is just the POS system. But we're not going to build our own POS system. We're going to work with the POS provider. Yeah, so we're just trying to do a very simple interface for merchants to actually use it. And one of it is going to be just QR codes, right? Okay. So it's going to be a unique QR code that the merchants can actually stick it on their tabletop or whatever. So, and all of this will actually come up. For example, like a restaurant, you have a CMS that you can actually go and tune. You can create a QR codes for the number of tables that you have. Anyone just go on the table, scan the QR code with the Cloud Wallet app itself. The menu will come up and they can just make the order and do the payment. Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Now, if indeed we as members, we sign up a merchant, we're going to get 0.5% of every single transaction. That's huge. That's huge. You're sure you want to give out that much, but you're probably making a lot. But that's really huge.
No, actually we don't. 1% goes to the merchant, 0.5% goes to the affiliate, and the other 0.5% actually goes to the outlet or the company itself, or the company that is servicing the service centers, the after sales. It goes to that. For cloud itself, we don't need this portion because what we want is to build a network. Yes, we are using this network. We need to make sure that all this the points are successful and they're making money by themselves. So once we have all the shops that's making money for themselves, okay, they'll be wanting to be more and more of the shops, right? Yeah. So one of the things is at the end of the third year, as I say, 20 million of these merchants, okay, all of them will be our JVs.
Wow. And then again, that ties hand in hand with your 3-year goal. I like that because if everything you're doing are steps to get through this journey to get to your 3-year goal of 100 million members. And it looks like, man, we may have more than that. So tell me a little more about Rogue. I know folks put in $10 or multiple instances of $10, and at the end of the month, a winner is chosen to win something. The losers keep what they put in. How does that work? And you also talked about loaning the money to entrepreneurs and nonprofit organizations. And tell me about that whole story.
Okay, so basically, DAI is the platform. DAI is actually made to do lending, right? Yeah. And DAI, because it's a stable coin, you can actually do it. But DAI also has a lot of trades, and one of the trade is actually to wrap around any kind of currency, cryptocurrencies. For example, you have wrapped Ethereum, wrapped BTC, wrapped EOS. Anything that is non-ERC, you can wrap it to become in DAI, right? Okay. So if that is possible, which means that you're able to use all of this as a backed asset to DAI. And DAI itself is then loaned to networks or exchanges.
Through the DAI platform.
Yeah, through networks, okay, I would say. And the networks itself, you have two portions. You have the borrowers and you have the lenders. And both of this will generate yield. And the yield itself is about 17-ish% a year. So you're talking about 1-point-something% a month itself. So this is a very, very, very safe way to actually get a profit. And we don't need high profit to actually sustain this business.
Because it's consistent and no volatility.
Yeah, it's consistent enough. So when it's consistent enough, it's easy to plan, right? Yes. So for example, now, for us, Rogue is like this. We just want to test out Rogue. So let's say for Rogue itself, I have 100 million in there, right? If I have 100 million in there, 1% itself is about $1 million, right? Yeah. $1 million a month, $1 million a day, sorry.
Wow.
That's 1% a day.
Yes.
Right. Sorry, 1% a month. Sorry,
a month. Sorry. About a
month. Sorry. Yeah, 1% a month. So that's $1 million a month. And if you calculate the number of people that put in this 100 million, all right. Let's say, for example, each one give $10, right? That's about 10 million people, right? Yeah. So in this 10 million people itself, to split that 1 million, okay, I would choose probably 10,000 people, so they get $1,000 each. right?
Yes.
So these guys all now have $1,000 and they can put into Jarvis.
I get it. I get it.
The
And
pool gets
they can put that
bigger.
into the data plan.
Yes.
If there are subscriptions. Okay. Get it. Got it.
So
Wow.
these are the things that we are trying to do in order to help the poor to actually or to get into a better financial state. Of course, it all depends on luck. We have no pool. We have no visibility on who wins or who lose because we don't select that. It's selected by the network itself. A lot of companies actually have tried to do this, but the way they're doing it is more like gambling, right? Whereby you put in.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first when you talk about rogue. Yeah. I'm like, no, let's not have gambling in here. We're going to be regulated.
Well, you don't lose your base.
Yeah.
Everything is contained, and you only get a fair share. So it's also one of the things that is Sharia compliant for the Muslims. So we're actually doing this for the Malaysian entity. We're trying to get this in place. We're putting all the paperwork. We're table it to OIC, the Organization of Islamic Council. So we're trying to get a approval. You see, most of the Sharia compliant platforms outside there, they are not from Malaysia. They're actually from maybe Saudi or something.
Okay,
and these are not from the Islamic Council. It's actually from a meteorology department. Right?
Theology department?
Yeah, it's meteorology department, you know. Yeah, that's how they are. But this is actually from the Islamic Council. Yeah. So it's huge to get. It's the most strictest of all. If you can get this.
So if you can get that one, you're global. Yeah.
We're like Michelin 5-star, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, I was going to ask you a question about longevity and sustainability, and talk about the external sources of revenue. As a matter of fact, I think we've covered all of that, because you have so many different avenues of revenue for longevity and sustainability. And I tell you, I'm going to tell everyone out there as well, this thing is huge. Cloud 2.0 is huge. You guys need to hang in there. Hang in there. You know, it's like Christmas when you're a kid. One day seems like a year. But see, I'm older. You know, when it's January, before you know it, it's June, and then it's December again. So pretend as if you're older. So I'm going to talk about just briefly. I got one more question after this. This is for the techies. So I want you to talk nerdy to me right now. So we've got that ERC20 token standard, and everyone is moving, not everyone, but we're slowly getting towards the new ERC 777, which solves a lot of the problems of ERC20. And so you talked about, I think that is by Jordi Balina and his guys or whatever. So now we're going to be able to interact with those token contracts at the same time being able to have the backward compatibility with the ERC20. So with the smart contracts that we have. So you said that folks is like yapping and yapping and yapping about how we don't have the transparency because the CTOs aren't on a public chain, since we have it on a, if you will, private chain or a blockchain. So you said that you're going to use the features of the ERC 777 in order to use something you call shadowing.
Yep.
Is that you or me?
Okay. Yeah, it's mine.
Okay. Okay, you ready? Are you?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay, great. And so you said something about using shadowing. So you're going to shadow what you have on an RA blockchain, and you're going to shadow it as an ERC 777 using these webhook calls. We don't want to get too techie for these people here, but kind of explain that to me.
Okay. A normal smart contract needs to be pushed to action, right? That's how ERC20 smart contract works. Somebody needs to initiate something, but in a 777, you can actually process it yourself. They are a provider, so it's a provider smart contract. All right, can react, it can send out things. So we can actually periodically upload data or push data to our chain through our platform to actually sync with the with the Ethereum network itself.
Wow. With the web calls.
Yeah, but that's a very big problem here. It's really expensive. So
yes, it is more expensive.
It's really expensive. Okay. as I said in my previous Zoom calls, if we were to implement 777, it looks like the correct solution now in order for us to save time, to give the visibility of what we are doing on all the transactions and things like that. Okay, but does it need to do this, because it's really expensive for it? So we need to calculate the number of what we need to pay out, do this. So if we can actually afford it, then we will be pushing it through to this. And it's also because of the time. We have been trying to work with real good blockchain engineers, and we found many of them since the July time, and we've got them into our group itself. And these guys are real wizards, and they are doing a lot of great stuff for us. So especially in the Aai blockchain itself, they pinpoint a lot of issues that we did not see previously. They are doing a lot of modifications to it, especially on the, there's a problem when we actually use our 47 node. Every time when someone witness something, right, we have to use 47 nodes to actually witness the transaction.
Wow.
But there's a problem there which they found out, and they broke the consensus protocol, and we actually have to I have to actually fix it. So one of the things that we are doing, we are actually trying to fix this issue. So it's also good because it's not public yet, so it's good.
Yeah. And that was one of the questions I wanted to ask, because I know that with any other blockchain, I can create a blockchain explorer and allow the public to actually see what's going on.
Yeah.
Why was that difficult with Aai?
Because each of the chains are individual. So you can, for example, I do a transaction with you, I can only see what I do with you. So if you do a chain explorer, you can only see what you're doing with whoever you are in chain
at that
with.
particular time. That's it.
Yeah, not everyone. So people be confused. What happened to this transaction? What happened to that transaction?
Yes.
So 777 solves this because we are writing everything back up to the Ethereum chain.
Okay.
That is the expensive part.
Yes. So right now you're in the process of making some changes, improving Aai blockchain with your geniuses that you've brought on board, who's been helping you with that, fixing the consensus protocol, and also trying to figure out whether indeed the cost benefit analysis will warrant utilizing ERC 777.
Yep.
Okay, great. Now somebody just sent me this. They said when they're applying for a MasterCard, they're trying to choose July 31st, 1993. There's no 31 there, just the 30th. So you may want to look at that.
That's a problem with the calendar.
So since you're the GOAT, what can you do to stop the negative anonymous social media keyboard warriors hiding in a hole from trying to give me a hard time? See,
well, just stop using Facebook and start using Cloud Chat.
That's our kryptonite serum. Okay, I'm not Superman, and kryptonite is rather ineffective on Cloud Woman. So I've dismissed them for 10 years. I think that you do the same, and I'm very happy that you're not as visible in Facebook anymore. I am extremely happy. First, we were happy you were there and all visible and transparent. Now we're like, get out of there, get out of there. But I'd like to say one thing, Ronald. Thank you. Thank you for spending this time with us, as I know your time is extremely valuable. I don't talk about leaders much because I'm of an opinion that we all are and have that potential. Now I believe that if you can't pull this off, there's no other person on this planet who can pull this off in this decade for sure. Your success potential, in my opinion, is very high on the scale. And my other members and people that I talk to, we've got you up there high. We're going through just a little bump. It's making people nervous. It's okay. The majority of the people, Ronald, are indeed behind you. And I want you to know that I love it. I love you. I appreciate you. Keep doing this thing. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Okay, bye-bye.
Yes, okay, bye-bye.